In this video, you're going to be able to steal this exact appointment system that is going to help you fill your calendar without posting daily. The reason why this is important is most coaches have a calendar that looks like this. And hypothetically, what's happening in their lives is, especially if they're on the content hamster wheel, post a reel, magically, let's say they get 10K views, and they're so happy about that. Day three comes up, three DMs come in, all of them asking, hey, how much is this? Ghosters, unqualified leads. And so day seven comes, no calls booked, no closes, time to post another reel. And this is what I call the content hamster wheel. Just because you got views does not mean you're going to get clients. Okay. So if you want an exact system that forces your pipeline to stay full and be full for the long term, then you want to stick to the end of this video because I'm going to show you the exact steps and strategy you can steal to actually make this happen for you. But first, you must understand why this phenomena occurs. Okay. By the way, the reasons that I'm gonna outline right now are going to be valid for people who actually do the work, for people who actually put the time in to actually get leads, put the effort in to actually get leads. And so if you're on this video and say, hey, I don't have enough leads, I don't have enough calls, and you're not doing shit, then it's probably not for you. Click off and come back whenever you can. Do the effort and do the work yourself. Okay. So without further ado, let's get into it. If you're actually working your ass off and you still do not get consistent qualified sales calls, two problems must be happening. Okay, one of these two. First is that you have low traffic volume or low attention. You're not reaching out to as many eyeballs as you possibly could. Okay, now you might already have this figured out, but the problem might be you might have a low set rate, or you might have a broken sales process that's just leaking people down down a hole in the bucket, basically, right? And so I'm going to be sharing with you if these sounded resonant, or if these sound like, hey, I kind of feel like this one's my problem, like number one or number two, then this booked out system that you're going to get right now, which you should watch at your own risk, is going to show you exactly how can you solve these two bottlenecks right now. Okay, so the first one is consistent traffic, and this is a very, very important piece in the whole equation, that if you just skip this part, none of it is going to work. Okay, and of course it is also a complete system that you need number three to actually make good advantage of number one. Okay, so consistent traffic means nothing but getting more people, getting more eyeballs to your offer as many times as you can throughout the week, throughout the month. Okay, and you could do this with one of two things. You could use tools, or you can use labor. Right, tools can be things like ads, outreach automations, and content repurposing software. Depending on the channel that you use to acquire customers, you can use tools for these different pieces, right? You can use labor. Those are growth specialists, or people that, you know, come come on your behalf to actually get people to see your offer. Okay. So these people could do things like repurposing long form content into five short form pieces of content every single day, right? So you're not per se creating five content pieces per day, but they're repurposing it. So they're acting on your behalf. They could use the thing we call the comment bait, which they reach out into competitors' posts, and under them, they post value based comments, right? Using the framework of acknowledging, providing value, and then providing a CTA. And as long as they can provide as much value as possible, then people of or the prospects or the followers of that competitor are going to take action on whatever CTA is there, or even to the least check out the profile, which, like we say, gets you more leads, more eyeballs to your offer. Okay, now once this one is dialed in, once this process is dialed in, is where we go to collect and iterate, right? Because if we do not collect and iterate as many of our actions as possible, then how are we going to continue to get consistent traffic? Because it's just going to go all to waste, right? So collect and iterate. The goal of this is to increase the click-to rates or the positive response rates through fast feedback loops. Again, this depends on the exact acquisition channel that you're using, right? But the main thing is it's all about tracking data for different messagings, because it's rarely the case that you just pick one messaging form and then distribute that through all your channels and it's just going to magically work, right? It's mostly an iterative process of being directionally right until you actually get the gold mine, right? So the things you need to test, or the things you need to track here or test on A/B test, are the offer headlines, the outcomes that you're promising, the hooks, the risk reversals, and the actual call to actions, right? Because these are one of the biggest needle movers in any kind of like messaging and direct response, right? So once you have a good data on, hey, this works, this doesn't, that is a very powerful process that you just completed, right? Because with these two processes alone, you can go way, way farther than 95% of every other coach in the market. Okay. Now, number three is going to be putting every step that we just did on steroids. Okay. So it's going to be the setting and the FOMO follow up. Okay. It's really important that you use the follow up, the FOMO follow up, because it gets you the highest response rates on your follows. Okay. Now, I can talk an hour about setting principles, setting processes, but it's going to take, very long. This video is not going to be enough for us to actually cover this. So I'm going to be giving you a very high level, summed up version of what it means to be setting well. Okay. It's all about keeping resonance in the conversational flow with the lead. Okay. So if you've seen my other videos talking about the lead and your resonance, it's about carrying the energy that comes from the lead to you and strengthening it, right? Building that relationship and coming or meeting the prospects at where they are, okay? And then adding to that energy as much as you can, and letting the lead to add to that energy as much as they can, or as much as you can, so that the conversation just rolls up to a very huge, snowball that just ends up in a very, very good position, which is you helping them booking a call with you, whatever the process is going to be, is the ideal situation we want it to be. Of course, if they're qualified enough for your actual offer, right? And so once you actually dial this setting process in, fixing your script so that it doesn't come off abrupt in the conversation, because if you've noticed, sometimes people will ask you something, and people that just follow scripts just create this gap in understanding or in communication, which is what we call dissonance, right? But what I'm trying to preach here is resonance, where you come to the point where the lead is, so that you can build up that relationship as fast as you can and as much as you can, right? So that being said, let's go to the FOMO follow up, where you can turn flakes into sales with basic two-step automations. But to make this work, you need a pre-call sequence, which is basically a 90-second loop video after people book, telling them, hey, this is exactly what we're going to cover, right? Because you don't want to repeat yourself on the call, because you're probably going to tell this to each and every single person that hops on a call with you. So that is why we like to automate it and put it before the call, right? After the call, you have two options. They either no show or they cancel. If they no show, you put in a Zapier automation that tells them, hey, are you serious about this end result? If you are, rebook here with this link, because there are only two spots left, right? If they cancel, you can email them telling them, hey, your spot is going to expire in 24 hours. I know you canceled it, but confirm now, or I'm going to be offering it to other people in the queue, right? And the reason why this works is all of these strategies, the pre-call sequence and the post book, or the no show or the cancel sequence, reduce no shows by 60% even on the second call, right? And the reason why this is the case is because it uses the scarcity and loss aversion psychological biases to actually encourage action from other people, which is really, really important process. So if this was valuable to you and you want my exact templates, which includes my Calendly pre-call script, the 5 daily lead engine Canva templates that you can use to repurpose, your content, your long form content to different pieces of, short form content, the Zapier automation cheat sheet that I just mentioned here, you can grab it free today. If you book me, if you DM me the word booked out on IG at Beam Scales, and I will be sending over the link when you do that. Okay. So if you use this process, because I know a lot of people who are going to watch this, 9 out of 10 people, they're not going to do shit. But if you are the actual person who, puts this into action, and this gets you 5+ calls in 7 days, please let me know if you win. And yeah, I'll be happy to check that out. Peace.